Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Felix of Virtual Witchcraft, coming to you once again live from the commentator's box on the pitch here at League 7, and once more joined by the illustrious newcomer that is Seawoods, both within the league competition and within our commentator's box today. Seawoods, how are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling phenomenal, Virtual. After a great sleep, I cannot wait for 4 phenomenal games of Quiddy today. First game looks like to be a complete rocker of a game, and then every game afterwards is going to be even more intense.
Exactly. We are starting off with a absolutely bombastic and vengeful match within this series today, with the Avenging Angels versus the Chadley Cannons. Avenging Angels currently seated, if I'm not mistaken, at the second place position, but the Chadley Cannons have been demonstrating an incredible series so far, having destroyed quite a bit of the competition up to date. Now, I must say, Seawoods, there has been a bit of a schedule change here today. Unfortunately, there does seem to have been a postponement within one of the matches that we were expected to see later today. But, dear viewers, that postponement will only be a postponement. There is no forfeiture. It is just simply a play at a later date. And I will say, even though we will not be able to see the BLUDGERS versus High Tide Gaming today, it does allow us to have the captain of High Tide Gaming here with me in the box for these upcoming matches. So, maybe alas on witnessing spectacular Quiddy there, but at least we get a fantastic consolation with the captain here to commentate today.
Absolutely, Virtual. Unfortunately, we had some fielding issues today, but, you know, as the new team, some things are bound to happen, and at least BLUDGERS were super cooperative to at least let us play at a different time, so we're probably going to hit it up next weekend. It's going to be another fantastic game next weekend, so we genuinely hope that the League 7 community would check out the game whenever we do play, and we'll at least keep up with the calendar on the website, and you'll probably be able to see where we're playing and when we are.
And I am very excited to keep up with all of it myself. I will say I was gearing to go to see this professor versus pupil match this weekend, but you know what? They do say that anticipation builds the drama, builds a greater appreciation for when it does happen. So a bit of delayed gratification hasn't hurt anyone. We will see an excellent match with High Tide. Hopefully next weekend, if not then sometime in the future before Lutz. But all of that... Oh, go right ahead.
No, I'm just confirming what you were saying, Virtual. We're probably going to see it next weekend. That was all.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But now back to the matches at hand. That's right, everyone. We did say that we are going to have the Avenging Angels versus the Chadley Cannons for today's opening match series. With regards to these teams, I'll go ahead and introduce each of them right here. So over by way of the... Oh goodness, well that's not correct. That must be swinging up. Ah, that's right. I do apologize, dear audience. Once it is closed in on the match time, it usually swaps on over to the next one. But all of that said, do give me but a moment and we will be able to discuss more of the upcoming teams that you will see showcased in the box here shortly. But in the meantime, Seawoods, out of these 3 games that you're going to be commentating, which of them do you feel is going to be the hardest match of today's series?
That's a great question, Virtual. I feel like all 3 games that we're going to be watching today, including the one that we're prepping up for, are all really exciting matches. One thing I looked at least looking at competition in terms of what Angels have played and Chadley Cannons have played so far this season, I believe, Avenging Angels have lost 2-1 against Team Pumpkin Snatch. But then I checked the Chudley Cannons, they've won actually 2-0 against Team Pumpkin Snatch. So I'm curious how that's going to actively be a little bit of a differential, especially because it looks like Avenging Angels have a little bit higher of a point difference than Chadley Cannons. So I'm really curious to see how the Chaser game's going to work in this game. Next game as well, it looks like the number 1 and the number 2 team going at it, so that's again super hype, super exciting matchup. And then looking at the game after that, it's the Bludgers against the number 1 or number 2 team in the league, all depending on how that second match goes. So this is a super exciting day for us in League 7. I'm very excited. All games have different aspects to be paying attention for, but if I was to call which one I'm most excited for, I would say it's got to be the one in the middle of Team Pumpkin Snatch versus Thin Ice. It's going to be a great number 1 versus number 2 game.
A good point there. A very good point there. There are quite a few match-defining or roster-defining matches coming up in the gun here today. So I'm very excited to see just what we're going to, just basically going to see how things are going to get swapped up on us today. You brought up a very good point there with the Chadley Cannons having defeated Team Pumpkin Snatch, whilst the Avenging Angels conceded to Team Pumpkin Snatch. Though, we have seen in the past that sometimes different enemies just work better with different playstyles. I am interested to see if the Chadley Cannons' capabilities against Team Pumpkin Snatch will transitively showcase their dominance over the Avenging Angels, or if the Avenging Angels are going to keep up with the veracity that we've seen them for the entirety of this season.
Very well said, Virtual. I think we're loading in momentarily. I'm super excited for this first game. I can't wait to see how the Angels specifically bring out a lot of either aggression right out of the gate, at least what High Tide has seen when we played them, or if they're going to be a little bit more defensive coming out of the gate, knowing that's at least how Chadley Cannons play, is very offensively.
Well, I will say, we are about to be moving into this first match here shortly, as you said, though it looks like the players are still getting themselves readied up and prepared. So in the meanwhile, I do believe I've got a little special something here today in a little blast from the past coming from Flyersh's previous streams. I think I've set this up appropriately in a bit of a betting circumstance. Let's take a look over the next 2 minutes for those watching, if possible. There we are. I've gone ahead and set up a quick betting pool here to determine who amongst them, between the Avenging Angels and the Chadley Cannons, wins this first match series. So go ahead and set your predictions, everyone. You've got about 2 minutes before we enter into this match. So, looking at the Avenging Angels versus the Chadley Cannons, who do you bet will win this? For you, Seawoods, if you were a betting person, where would your money lie? Avenging Angels or Chadley Cannons?
That's a really tough one. That's a really tough one. Being that we've played both squads, I would have to put my money on Avenging Angels. I think their chaser game is just a little bit stronger between the minutes of 4-0 rather than right off of kickoff up until 4 minutes. I think after that first snitch catch, their chasers have just been a little bit more dominant this season. So I'm really, really hoping my money is accurate on that one.
Well, I would say, as much as I love the Avenging Angels, I have seen the Chadley Cannons bring it back around in tight games before. I think when the pressure is really on, the Chadley Cannons really demonstrate their fearsome capabilities in being able to coordinate and just really, I'd say, play hard in the interference category, not only within their offensive line, but also within interference on that seeker game. I have seen, though, previously the Avenging Angels be able to pull through with some incredible offensive and defensive lines, but I think it might be the interference that really breaks through their defenses here today and secures, if not both snitches for the Chadley Cannons, then one snitch for them, and maybe, just maybe, being able to hold out will win over for the Chadley Cannons there. So your money's on the Angels, mine's on the Cannons. It does look like the players are readying themselves up and finding server as we move on into this first match. So let's go ahead and swap on over to their perspective here, as it looks like we are loading up over at the Weasley-Borough Sunrise. Let's go, everyone.
Looks like everyone is loaded in. We're warm-up ending in just a couple seconds. How are you feeling, Virtual? We're just about 10 seconds away from kickoff.
I am excited, Seawoods. This is going to be a most excellent match that we have here today. So I'm excited to see which of these two Titan teams really bring it home here today. And it wouldn't be a stream without a bit of technical difficulty on my side, so there we go. Let's see if I can get this working appropriately.
Looks like J-Guard's getting bumped right out of the gate, but still looking ahead on the snitch meter here, so this is still looking good for Chadley Cannons.
That it does. Chadley Cannons currently in possession of the quaffle with one warden. Weaving on over to the right-hand side of the pitch, passes it backwards, apparently to no one, with Osiris immediately picking the quaffle right back on up and sending it on down to Soldarius. Soldarius weaving on up, goes for a Jesus shot, but it is ineffective. One warden once more picking up the quaffle. As over on Saker Game, J-Guard is pushing hard and dodging every bludger that comes their way in an effort to take a lead on that snitch, but it is neck and neck between him and Rishi. 10 points on the board for the Avenging Angels at 5 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock here. It is a bombastic match out the gate, and I'd expect absolutely nothing less from these two teams.
Looked like a beautiful stop there from CompuGamer, and then tried to kick it down the pitch, but Osiris looked like picked it back up. Now it looks like the quaffle is in Angels' possession right now, in the hands of Skinny, I believe.
That it is. Skinny with the swift stick shimmy and flick puts it in for another 10 points. We are at 20-0, 5 minutes left on this clock, and the Seeker game is tight here, as all players are starting to play interference on this snitch, as they are at 95 and 95. We'll swap on over to J-Guard's perspective, as it looks like we're getting close here. J-Guard goes for an excellent bump. May it be able to secure, and does. We are at a tied game here. 20-20, 4 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock.
Beautiful technique from J-Guard, landing that bump right on the corner. Almost textbook Seeker technique right there.
Most excellent. We love to see some of the classics come right on out. Seekers waiting for their opportune moment to really get that bump in and secure the snitch. A most necessary capture there too, as it looks as if that will secure them 20 points right there.
I'm really curious to see if my money from earlier Virtual is accurate. Like I said, after that first snitch catch, Angels seem to be a little bit more confident with their quaffle play. I'm really curious to see how they move up the pitch now. Looks like it's in the hands of Skinny.
I'm really curious myself. It does oftentimes come down to just being able to keep a level head through the fire. And as I was saying earlier with regards to the Chadley Cannons, they are no strangers to trying to keep the enemy on the back foot. Unless the Avenging Angels really turn this around here and keep back up with the pressure, then they may yet concede this second snitch and move back on in to a win for the Cannons here. Currently though, Angels are in possession. Looks like they are embolstered by this shot, but lose possession once more to the Cannons. Cannons keeping the pressure on. Ederoni with a fantastic save, sending it right back on over to Kay. Kay sends it out to Skinny. Skinny slowly weaving their way on down the pitch as the Seeker game is leaning again towards the Cannons.
As J-Guard's weaving in and out, avoiding that kick from the keeper. Looks like he's trying. Oh, and then he lands a beautiful bump at about half court.
Beautiful bump, securing 90% on that snitch race. Oh my goodness, this is a excellent tight game. The Chaser Corps is currently feeding back and forth on one another. Skinny puts in another 10 points right there. Will that be enough to secure a tied match before we move over towards overtime? Or will J-Guard capture the snitch here, push the Cannons into the lead, and then they hold out until the very end there? 2 minutes left on the clock. J-Guard at 100% on the snitch, looking for the capture, gets it right there. 30-40, 2 minutes left on this clock here, Seawoods. What an excellent match thus far.
This has been purely Seeker game versus pure Chaser game. And we're seeing actively at the 2 minute mark, this Seeker game is actively beating the Chaser game. Angels are going to need to either step on the gas with their Chaser game and score a couple extra points here, or they're going to need to stop J-Guard from catching the snitch.
There is just enough time for a third snitch, and honestly it looks like the Avenging Angels are going to need to rely on that in order to bring themselves to a tied game, as the Chadley Cannons put in another 10 points. 20-point disparity between the two teams, with the Chadley Cannons currently in the lead at 1 minute 20 seconds left on this clock.
Beautiful bump by J-Guard as he's going towards the blue hoops, kind of staying around, capturing a little bit more snitch meter. As Saffron takes possession, looking like they're going upfield. Looks like they're by themselves.
Kay's going to need to escape this out. Saffron weaving around the goals, looking for an opening, sends the shot, puts it in.
Beautiful shot.
Excellent work there from Saffron J. Currently 30 points disparity with only 45 seconds left on this clock. There may not be enough time for the Seekers to capture this and the Avenging Angels be able to put in another goal here, but they're going to need it if they want to bring home this first game in this match series. 30 seconds left. J-Guard in the lead.
Close on that snitch. Angels are going to need to stop them really quickly or land a serious bludger hit in order to stop J-Guard from being close.
Rishi looking for a way to get that bump here. J-Guard taking on one of the greatest Seekers here. 7 seconds. Will he get it? Oh, takes a bump. Rishi may be able to capture this. Do they? They do not. That is the end of the match there, bringing a 60-30 on that first game, securing the Chadley Cannons their first win. Most excellently done there, Chadley Cannons.
That was a beautiful, beautiful game one. Like I said, Angels needed to stop J-Guard from capturing that snitch, and they absolutely did that. But I think they needed to step on the gas just a little bit more offensively, and I think they would have taken the dub in game one.
I must agree there. As I was calling it earlier, with regards to their offensive and defensive techniques, the Angels are bar none some of the most fearsome players on the pitch. But when it comes down to the interference and aggressive tactics of the Chadley Cannons, living up to the Cannon names in their bombardment of the other team, it's really difficult for anyone to take that on. And, as I said, conceded 2 snitches over to the Cannons simply because of the interference play that came with the Cannons on Rishi. A top tier Seeker there. J-Guard will be so proud and deserves to be so proud for being able to take on such a top tier Seeker and capturing not one but both snitch captures there, securing a 40 point greater lead over the Avenging Angels in that snitch game. As you were saying, Seawoods, it did come down to a Seeker versus Chaser scenario. And unfortunately, even though the Avenging Angels were able to put in quite a few points on the board there, it just was not enough to overcome that Seeker difference.
I agree. I think at least if we're recognizing film and history, this could be an absolute textbook example of why the snitch meter and why the Seeker game is so important for anybody that's trying to pick up the game. Just actively picking up the snitch and trying to put maybe 2 or 3 of them on the board, it actively gets you 40 or 60 points versus trying to score 4 to 5 to 6, maybe even 7 goals on a really competent keeper. It makes it a lot, it's a game changer.
It is a game changer. And speaking of changes in game, what do you anticipate that the Avenging Angels are going to need to do differently in order to bring this back around? Because if they lose this one, then they lose another match over to the Chadley Cannons and potentially their second place spot on the leaderboard.
I'm gonna put my foot out there just on a whim and just kind of see what happens. I think their beater game needs to be a little bit more aggressive on the Seeker particularly. I think their Chaser game can hold their own on this one, but if their beater game can focus a little bit more on disrupting J-Guard or whoever's seeking for the Chadley Cannons in game 2, I think they've got a lot more potential to see an actual game 3 in this. I think we could have a serious contending game 3 as long as the Chadley Cannons are held to a little bit more of a distance from the snitch.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I would also recommend within the Angels core, they're going to need to play a lot more in the interference category. As I was saying, just with the playstyle that is the Chadley Cannons, the usual tactics from the Avenging Angels, as commendable as their camaraderie and their capabilities and coordination on the pitch are, they need to be able to break such coordination from their enemy team. So I'd say play a little more tactically, play a little more on the interference category, and they'll be able to keep up with the Cannons at least enough to overcome the longevity that comes with the Chadley Cannon stamina. As I've said before, sometimes after that first snitch capture, it can be a bit demoralizing, but you cannot allow that to really break down the momentum of play, because otherwise the Chadley Cannons, I would say, let's see, they were at 60 points, 40 of that went over by to the Seeker. If it came down to just pure Chaser game, the Avenging Angels would have won that. But because of the fact that there was not enough interference over on J-Guard on the Seeker game, they ended up swaying the match their way. So yeah, I would say focus a little more on that Seeker interference, be able to break the lines that the Chadley Cannons has in play, and just play a little more tactically carefully. Then I think we may yet be able to see a Game 3. But Avenging Angels, you're going to have to give it your all here. Remember what's on the line. And it does look like the teams are preparing themselves on this side of things. Currently have the custom server up and just waiting for the teams to load themselves on in here. Now, I will take a moment here to remind everyone, if you haven't already, be sure to like, favorite and subscribe on all of our platforms. If you haven't joined our official League 7 Discord, you can find the link for it over at our official website at league7.gg. From there, you'll also be able to see the names and the faces that have brought this league to fruition and see more of the details with regards to this match season and previous matches in the past. Phantom Blade out here reminding us all to drink water as well. Excellent comms there. I do need to take a sip on my side of things, so I'm going to break open the water bottle.
As I'm over here drinking water as well, but we also got to stay caffeinated. We got to stay hydrated at the same time. So hydrate or dihydrate.
Most excellent, most excellent. Hydrate or dihydrate, especially in the absolutely killer heat wave we've all been experiencing. I must say, the players on the pitch being able to take this on and just really get the blood, sweat and tears pumping. I can only imagine how sweaty these matches truly are.
Especially during summer. This is a prime time to be playing Quiddy. Outside in the sun in the blaring heat.
Oh,
I can only imagine high tide players are definitely feeling it.
I would say that if anything, I would love to see us playing over on the Durmstrang pitch, if only just for the faint reminder that ice and snow is able to cool down this blazing heat. Looking on over into chat, I do see Magic Mike says, great match, the cannons came in locked and loaded, ready to fire, and with some exceptionally handsome blast work out there, managed to break through their competition's line. Phantom Blade following on up with live by the water and caffeine, die by the water and caffeine. Words from Professor Phantom 2026. Most excellent. Most excellent. Also, for new time viewers, I will say, if you've just tuned on in, welcome in. We are getting into week 8 of our Quidditch Champions League 7 gameplay. If you don't know what we're talking about, League 7 is a community-based league created around the game of Quidditch Champions. We are in full swing of the season and about to be in full swing of this second match of two incredible teams between the Avenging Angels and the Chadley Cannons. Oh, and it does look like we are moving right on in here, thankfully, to a non-blazing summer match over at the Weasley Borough Cloudy. Let's go ahead, pull on up the perspective, and get ready for another incredible match where everything is on the line and these two teams are ready to give it their all. What do you think, Seawoods? Who do you think will bring home this game?
Just because it's cloudy doesn't mean it won't be humid and sweaty, but I definitely still am thinking Angels are going to come on top on this one.
Uh-oh, but it does look like there's plenty of bloody hells here. It looks like, unfortunately, there is going to be a disconnect. Most unfortunate, but to be expected at least once in a while. For viewers who don't know, oftentimes if a team loads on into a server that is outside of their usual network's capabilities and bandwidth, there is high ping, which high ping can oftentimes make or break any given match. Unfortunate to witness, but it looks like there is some agreements on both sides with regards to restarting these matches. So good sportsmanship all around in being able to back on out, respect the ping differential, and be able to move back on in to a more fair match.
In a sense of transparency, as a captain, I've always had to see these pre-match agreements and just say a certain amount of resets are allowed, but I've never seen it actively in practice for sure. This is the first time that, as a captain, I've actively seen this happen this season. So I think this is a grand thing, considering we haven't had this many technical issues, at least in terms of players, and saying we needed to reset.
It is, I'd say, uncommon, but not rare. When it's come down to the history of League 7, particularly with regards to the game and its server structure, we have seen plenty of times where we've had to reset a few servers. Usually it does come down to ping issues or disconnects, and for the most part there are rules in place with regards to how players can approach it. Especially for those who may be newer to it, if there comes a point where players feel that the ping is far too difficult to overcome, usually with regards to 300 plus ping, players are allowed to decry a bloody hell in which place the team will go ahead and echo the sentiment of those players and back on out of the match. With regards to that, unless there is a pre-match agreement otherwise, the rules set in place or pre-match agreements set in place will allow these players to back on out and enter back in with respect to the other team to allow for fair gameplay. We are in this to win this, yes, but no one wants to win due to server lag or disconnects or high ping that causes gameplay to sputter about the screen every which way. And at least from a viewing experience, I do agree. It's much more impressive to be able to win a match based on the capabilities of one's players and not based on the difference in ping.
It definitely sucks coming from a place where your technology is inhibiting you, and if we don't have those pre-match settlements to where we can restart just to have it be on a fair playing ground, it definitely creates a very fair disadvantage, or very unfair disadvantage, rather.
But it does look like we are about to move back on in, running it back. Hopefully, we will see players carry on in this next match, as it appears that everyone is in high anticipation for the second matchup of the Avenging Angels versus the Chadley Cannons. Game 2, take 2. And they are off. Looks as if on this side we have the perspective of Rishi on Seeker for the Avenging Angels, no doubt wanting to turn this back around and reclaim their Seeker potential. Meanwhile, Chad is my dad with an excellent perspective over for the Chadley Cannons as one of their star chasers with an excellent tackle there, securing the quaffle, sending it on over to T-Dreams. T-Dreams swings on over to the left-hand side, passes it to Chad, but an excellent save there from Wubsy, sending it on out onto the pitch.
Also, Virtual, we're seeing a roster adjustment on the hands of Chadley Cannons. Instead of J-Guard on Seeker, we're seeing Dementor on Seeker, so this is a completely different matchup for us in terms of Seeker game.
Ooh, a swap on Seekers either. The Chadley Cannons are incredibly confident to swap up the gameplay that worked in the last match, or we are simply seeing the Chadley Cannons approaching this with a different tactic. In either case, it seems to be winning them out as the Chadley Cannons get the first goal on the board at 5 minutes and 37 seconds, bringing the score 0-10.
The Seeker game is looking phenomenally close, 85 to 90% on both of them, as Dementor looks like he just got hit, but it's still looking really, really close. Almost as close as it was in the first game where it was J-Guard up against Rishi.
Indeed. I actually see that Rishi is low on health and behind Dementor on that, taking some knocks there and looking to get a key bump here. But the Chadley Cannons, as I said before, have been keeping some excellent interference, and in that time secures the first snitch, bringing the score 30-10 as the Avenging Angels in that last second was able to secure a goal. But not enough. We are at 10-30, 4 minutes, 40 seconds on this clock.
So it looks like Osiris is working their way down the pitch with Skinny's got possession. I'm curious if they're going to be trying to set something up. Oh, as they lose possession. Now Saffron's got it moving up the pitch as they pass it down to T-Dreams. I'm curious if they're going to put in another goal, make it 40-10 here.
Looks like they were going for a set-up shot there between T-Dreams and Chad, but unfortunately just wasn't able to make it on in. But that second attempt around does make it in, bringing the score 10-40 at 4 minutes on the clock. An incredible amount of teamwork there. As I've said, the coordination between these chasers are incredible.
Oh, as we see Dementor getting hit over on the side of the Chadley Cannons, I'm curious if we're going to see, a huge bump from Dementor.
Looks like Dementor has taken a few knocks, but is giving it right back on over to Rishi there. We are at a close game on this Seeker race, but it looks like the Chadley Cannons with Dementor is just pulling on ahead. Oh, but another beautiful bump there by Rishi. Almost equalizes that snitch race. The Chasers, in the meantime, are working very hard to try and build up a greater lead. Skinny in possession, looking to squeak past OTP, but OTP says no with an incredible save there.
As T-Dreams has possession, moving down, passing it over to Chad is my dad. Let's see if Chad is my dad is going to get close to score another goal this game. Oh, possession of T-Dreams. Everyone is playing defense for Angels. Great stop by them.
Great stuff indeed, but I do see that at least by way of the Seeker game, they do have one Chaser currently operating as their interference on it. Exactly what they're going to need if they're going to equalize this right here. But it looks as if Rishi is struggling to keep up on one ping of help. If he takes a bump here, or a smack from a Chaser, or a hit from a beater, they're going to have to say goodbye to this snitch here. Dementor keeping that 95% lead. Rishi looking to get any amount of bump and coverage on this. Will Dementor swing around? Oh, it looks like Dementor swung off of the snitch there. Takes a bump. An incredible comeback around here. If Rishi can simply secure this capture here, then they are back in this game. Swinging around on their home side of the hoops. Dodges a speeding bludger that whips back around. Dementor may just be waiting in the wings for this snitch. Oh, Rishi takes a bump. Dementor comes back in, captures this snitch. We are at 10-60 at 1 minute.
Never doubted him for a second. I'm sorry. I just had to hop in here real quick. You know, for those who don't recognize the voice, it is J-Guard himself. Dementor is the GOAT. That is why. Just want to put that out there.
Well, J-Guard, I do appreciate the commentary, but you've got still more to be looking at in this match. Excellent work there by Dementor, all things aside. And excellent work from Daydreams, bringing it in 10-70.
And what a goal that was. I mean, that's part of the reasons that the Cannon, you know, is up there. We have a lot of diversity on the team, as you can see. And us switching it up here, nothing to do with prior performance. Mostly just to, you know, flex a little bit.
Currently, looks as if the Avenging Angels are still in possession. Your boy Skinny with the quaffle. Passing it on over to Osiris. Osiris looking to move the quaffle up. Rishi, unfortunately, going down at the hands of the Chadley Cannons.
Looks like Osiris trying to land a bounce shot, but a beautiful stop by VOTP. And another beautiful goal by T-Dreams there, making the score 80-10.
And it looks like with the last 5 seconds, this may be it, unless the Chadley Cannons with Dementor come in and swing the capture. But unfortunately, that is going to make for that second match there between the Chadley Cannons and the Avenging Angels, bringing the score 10-80. Well done, Chadley Cannons. A most excellent second match and a win overall, which does bring those who voted for the Chadley Cannons in their predictions of this match the win there. Also, sorry about that, Jagar. Go right on ahead.
I was just saying thank you for the you know, for saying for those kind words. I'm hopping out. Got to go chat with the team. As everyone knows, we have another game later on today. Sorry for the interjection. Signing off.
Well, thank you, Jagard, and good luck in your future matches. That is right there. The Chadley Cannons have brought around a win of the first win of the day here at League 7 on Sunday's matches for Week 8. Seawoods what do you think there in that previous matchup? Incredible work from the Chadley Cannons, don't you think?
I know, as I was at the edge of my seat, every play, every fast break, every snitch race was so engaging. Because no matter what happened, you could find Dementor turning a corner and then a game-changing moment could happen. Or you could see Chad as my dad going for a goal that actively Rishi is then trying to get a snitch catch afterwards. It was such a close match on both ends, and it was so aggressive. And just knowing that every match that we're going to see afterwards today is going to be even more aggressive or even more meaningful to these teams is something that is going to be just so momentum filling and so driving going into the rest of this afternoon.
And I do think that the momentum that we've seen brought here today will carry over across teams, as we do have a second matchup coming up in the game in about, I'd say, just under or just over 40 minutes. It's going to be most excellent. Or, excuse me, just under 20. Just over 20 minutes. I cannot maths today. Unfortunately, on my side, my brain may be a wee bit fried from watching that incredible match there. For the Chadley Cannons, well done there. I know you're going to be celebrating in your common room later today, but remember, don't rest on your laurels. You've got another match coming on up. So be sure to use that power that you brought there today. For the Avenging Angels, you may have lost this matchup, but you've still got plenty more to play on out and have only traded the second and third place position. Now, I will...
Oh, my bad, Virtual, you are all good.
No, go right on ahead, Seawards.
I was going to say, at least looking at the rest of the season and looking at the placement of, I believe it's Newts, it's our top 6, so it looks like Angels still have room, at least as their safety net. It might not be the best place to put them in, but as long as they're staying in that 3-2-1 position, I think they're looking good for Newts.
Oh, 100%. They do have a comfortable setting there. As it is, setting at third place is a nice, almost assurance for moving on towards Newts there, especially considering that they will have 5 matches played out similar to Team Pumpkin Snatch there with, or actually more than just 5 matches played on out, but they will have 4 wins, which puts them currently within ice in regards to their record at the 3rd and 4th place position. Chadley Cannons moving on up, no doubt, into the 2nd place position, tied along with Team Pumpkin Snatch, whom they have bested in the past. I'm excited to see more of what's going to be coming on the line, especially as we move over into these next 2 matches between Team Pumpkin Snatch and the Bludgers, and then later with the Chadley Cannons versus Dumbledore's Army. Dumbledore's Army having had an incredible match series last weekend. And I'm just interested to see. This season, I will say, has possibly been the most balanced with regards to player and team makeup. We've seen so many upsets. We've seen no team currently make it far enough to say that they are undefeated, with the exception of the Bludgers. But the Bludgers themselves have yet to play out as many games as the rest of these teams have. So it's interesting to see if they will remain undefeated moving on towards Newts, or if perhaps there will be that upset. Now, with that in mind, Seawoods, I will say we've got approximately now 20 minutes before we can expect the first or the next match to come up in the gun. So I'm going to take this moment to break on away, have a bit of a advertisement break, and then move on in to the next matchup, as it looks like we are going to be seeing between these 2 teams, Team Pumpkin Snatch tackle on thin ice. So, dear audience, don't go away. We will be back with more Quidditch after this commercial break. Hello everyone and welcome on back to League 7. We are just about to be moving on into this next matchup of Thin Ice versus Team Pumpkin Snatch. Currently we are just awaiting the players to get their perspectives on up for us over on our side of things, and then we will be moving right on in to the second match of the day. Now, Seawoods, between these two incredible teams, with Thin Ice having a legacy of having won two of the 2 seasons back to back and hoping to win this third one, versus the upstart that was last season's Team Pumpkin Snatch, now coming on in and showcasing the first place position on the roster. What are you thinking when it comes down to who we should see in this match series take home the gold?
You see, Virtual, I think we're seeing a textbook example of passion versus legacy, where Thin Ice has been playing for 2 or 3 seasons and have a reputation, a legacy, like you said, of playing at a spectacular level, a level that is extremely competitive. But if we look at Pumpkin Snatch's track record from this season, they're currently the #1 team. They've played unstoppable Quiddy for this entire season, and it just shows how intense that team is looking to take their competition this season. I think this is going to be probably the most exciting match today.
Ooh, now that is a high statement there. With regards to the most exciting match, I'm inclined to agree, but all of that said, I anticipate that maybe we may have to eat our words. We do still have 2 additional matches in the gun today. So to see this, or actually, I need to make right south. I would say that this has the potential to be the most exciting match, especially if Thin Ice manages to win over the competition of Team Pumpkin Snatch and dethrone them from their first place position. Because Team Pumpkin Snatch lost their first match of the series last weekend of all times. Otherwise has led an incredible undefeated matchup. So to see them come this far, it's going to be right fun. I'm going to place a quick little wager up here in just a moment, and I would say that if I were a betting man, I think Team Pumpkin Snatch might actually win this out. Knowing Thin Ice's capabilities, it's not going to be an easy match whatsoever. But Team Pumpkin Snatch has really been putting in the work over this season and have earned that first place name. Whether or not Thin Ice continues to live up to their legacy and move on into Newts with the prospect of bringing home a hat-trick will be something to see. What would you say, Seawoods, if you were to bet? I am going to place a prediction here in chat just momentarily, but I'm interested to hear what you would actually put your money on if you had the chance.
Now, I feel so split on this because I feel so dedicated to seeing a hat trick, a three-peat in League 7 from Thin Ice. But when you see a team playing as good as Team Pumpkin Snatch is playing, you can't not support them. You can't not want to see them play even better and just make history within a season. And that's kind of where I'm at, Virtual. I'm going to put my money on Team Pumpkin Snatch because I think they're playing really, really, really well. But that doesn't mean that I'm discounting what Thin Ice has the potential to do for the rest of the season. Now, if we get to see this matchup again once we get to Newts, I think that's going to be a more intense matchup than what we're seeing today. This is just the foundation of what could be.
Oh, and it's the foundation of what could be a most excellent matchup. I have gone ahead and placed the predictions on in there. You have approximately 40 minutes to set your wagers there. Who will win between Thin Ice versus Team Pumpkin Snatch? And taking a look on in here, it looks like we have Magic Mike's coming through saying, PKS, let's go. Oh, and I do see quite a few wagers being set there. Looks as if at the moment it is 960 to 520 for Thin Ice taking this win here. Now, I will say, with Thin Ice especially, they have had a last-minute roster change as of last week, currently being captained by Flyrish once more. For those who may not know, Flyrish was the captain for the previous season, who had stepped away over to play with the Angels, but recently came right back on over to Thin Ice in order to coordinate and captain them there. And due to that, are we going to see a bit of a dynamic shift, a return to form from Thin Ice because of the excellence that is Flyrish captaincy?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a kind of example to see today. We saw them play, I believe, last weekend against Us's High Tide. And that might have been Flyrish's first game back with Thin Ice, but ever since, I think we might just see them improve and improve for the rest of the season.
Oh, something I love to hear. As I was saying earlier, I think this season has demonstrated the most versatility and dynamism within all of the teams that have played here at League 7. In previous seasons past, sometimes you would see teams that just would underperform by the whole on the par. And then you would have one or two teams that really left the rest in the dust. But this season, every team has really brought forth a passion and skill that has yet to be seen in other games to date. So to see these two Titan teams meet on the pitch, I am excited to see just how they're going to fend off against one another. And I hope to see even more in the gun from other teams to date.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what you said, Virtual, all of this season has a lot of versatility and a lot of teams just making a couple quick adjustments. And we know a lot of these players have main roles, but we've been seeing a lot of people play their off role just to build a little bit of more versatility among their comp, among their team. And they've maybe been pulling in a seventh man and then putting one person on the bench for a more differing playstyle in game 2. So this could be a really, really dynamic game to see. And it looks like our codes are out and we're finding game. So it looks like we're loading up here momentarily.
Most excellent to hear. We are about to be moving right on in of this battle of wind and ice. Hopefully, we're going to have a nice breezy match coming up. And it looks like we are going on over to the Weasley Burrow Cloudy. So let's hop right on in and see to it the first match between Thin Ice and Team Pumpkin Snatch. Oh, and it looks as if the teams are still loading themselves on in. Currently missing one player over by way of Team Pumpkin Snatch. Well, that's unfortunate to hear. Hopefully they'll be able to load on in. Oh, they're backing out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if this is one person is out or if we're doing a quick little reset, just like we were saying earlier, just with pre-match agreements.
I do think this may be a reset. Looks as if the teams didn't load completely on in. Maybe one of their players ended up crashing. So they're going to take some time to reset, probably restart their clients. Meanwhile, it looks as if there's one very dedicated player over from Team Pumpkin Snatch using this as extended practice. But otherwise, yes, there will be a small delay, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between or otherwise. We are currently just waiting for Team Pumpkin Snatch to recuperate and enter right back on in. From what I see, it looks as if Macoon is somehow still in the match with Thin Ice and simultaneously on scene with Team Pumpkin Snatch's load up. I'm not exactly sure. I think Macoon is probably going to have to restart their client. This is looking rather interesting to say the least. And finally, looks like the game had been abandoned. They're moving back on in.
Say this is looking definitely a little weird because one player from one team is in, the rest of the other team is in. I love the weird complications that we can find when we're playing games that are this organized. Sometimes you won't even recognize what is if you're picking up a game casually. That actively a game like this you could pick up just casually and just play the Hogwarts House Cup, but you're not going to find these intricacies until you actively put the game to its limit in this type of competition. Don't you think, Virtual?
I think so. Again, we love this game, but it's not without its faults here and there, especially when it comes down to connectivity. And all of that said, it does present one or two challenges here and there in the box, but at the same time, I do believe most of our audience generally expects to see one or two technical difficulties here and there, whether by my side or by way of player side. And I do have an update, it looks like. I am Shoni says Tux did not connect. Understandable. Sometimes there's just a disconnect issue. Hopefully Tux is able to restart their client and join back on in there. And moving into this second attempt at match one, hopefully we're going to see an easy and smooth transition into this competitive gameplay. Looks like we were just getting a wee bit teased there.
I was gonna say, it looks like we're just getting a little teased with the first game. We're getting so excited, we just want it to start, but no, anticipation. But it looks like we're getting our code, we're getting logged in. It looks like we could be loading up within the next, now we're really loading up within the next 10 or 15 seconds here.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I'm already on the edge of my seat for these two Titan teams moving into the first match. Just currently waiting to find server, finding server. Oh, and we're moving right back in. As the kids these days say, we are so back, Seawoods. Moving back on over to Weasley Borough Cloudy. And it looks like all players have loaded in, so we are not going to encounter any further delays. Thank you, ladies, gentlemen, everyone between or otherwise, for your patience. We are moving right on in to the first matchup of Thin Ice versus PKS. Will Thin Ice be able to freeze PKS out, or will we say PKS bring home the gold?
And it looks like the POVs that we have is Denji on Seeker versus Tux on Seeker. This is going to be an intense battle, knowing how crazy Denji can fly sometimes, but also looking at how direct Tux can just get right to the snitch.
That's true there, and beyond simply the Seeker battle, Team Pumpkin Snatch's capabilities on the Chaser core is proven with Cardi, the star chaser for Pumpkin Snatch's team. Puts in the first 10 points there. We are at 0 to 10 at 6 minutes and 15 seconds on this clock, and currently it looks as if Denji, for Thin Ice, is leading by a small margin on this snitch race. Currently,
I think Denji's leading just a little bit, because as Tux was going in on the opposite side, he ended up getting a huge kick by the keeper when he was throwing the quaffle out to about mid-pitch. So I'm curious to see if Thin Ice is going to be more aggressive towards Tux, as he's looking like he's getting back on top at 50%.
back on top at 50%, but Denji currently enclosing on that 75%. Meanwhile, Dake Blueby, 4th in ice, currently in possession of the Quaffle, trying to tactically move their way on downfield and present a challenge for this Seeker Core, as Flyrish, an incredible beater out on the pitch, is keeping the pressure Tal on Alpha Tux here, who has taken a few knocks and is losing ground on this snitch. This battle of Seeker play is about to close out as we encroach on the 5-minute mark. Cardi once more in possession, looking to potentially get another goal on here for the Snitch Insurance. Denji with the 100% on the Seeker meter, whips around Alpha Tux's bump there, trying to go in for the Snitch. Will they be able to get it? 100%, 20-10. Denji with the first capture of the match, bringing the score to a 10-point disparity here at 4 minutes, 45 seconds left.
First of all, for how good our chasers are, I just want to put out for almost 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, only one Quaffle has been scored this entire game.
It is incredible to see, especially with the likes of Shoni and Cardi and Neo. These are incredible chasers out there who have showcased time and time again that they've been able to weave past even the strongest of defensive lines, but thin ice has not only kept them out, but right there with an incredible shot from Cheese and Queso puts in a goal on Pumpkin Snatch herself, securing a 30-10 lead.
Well, it looks like Denji lands a beautiful bump there to take advantage on the Snitch meter here. He's getting a little bit swamped by Pumpkin Snatch's team here, so looks like they're going to need to play a little bit more offensively in order to keep Denji off that Snitch.
Denji keeping very close to the Snitch there and ensuring that his lines are clean. The closer he gets on that Snitch, the faster that meter builds, but Tux weaves on around the enemy Seeker and gets closer and closer themselves. Both of these Seekers not wishing to concede a single bump to one another. But as I say that, it looks like Tux has been taking a few hits, most likely by Flyrish, who is keeping up that incredible pressure and interference on the Seeker, which is what you need to do when facing off against such a powerhouse on almost every single role that is Tux there. Tux unfortunately missing a bump as Denji peels ahead on this Snitch race by a small margin, less than 5%. It is neck and neck.
This is such a close Snitch game. This is anybody's contender. And it looks like Tux lands a big bump there, just creating a little bit of separation in the Snitch meter.
That little bit may just be able to tie this match. We are closing in on the 95%, moving on towards 98, 99, 100% on this Snitch. Oh, Tux went in for an early bump there. Has the potential to capture, and does! We are at a 30-30 tied game at 2 minutes, 11 seconds left on this clock. Neither team wishes to concede.
This is one of the most exciting games of Quiddy I have ever watched virtual. 2 minutes left on the clock. It's a tie game. Both Chaser game and Seeker game are extremely competitive, but a beautiful goal there by Dake Blueby, making it 40-30 by way of thin ice. Pumpkin Snatch is going to need to do something big here in order to keep momentum, in order to keep the lead.
This is a series-defining matchup. Cardi once more tying the game. This is an incredible even match we have between these two teams. Will we see us moving on towards overtime, as we are currently at 40-40, 1 minute 20 seconds left on the clock, and the Seeker race is leaning ever so slightly over to Alpha Tux.
All I know is when Alpha Tux looked behind him, I saw 3 of Thin Ice flying right behind him as Thin Ice lands another hit on Tux. I think both the strats on the teams here are to keep their Seekers away from catching that Snitch and to just win by a Quaffle. Maybe they're trying to win by 20 here.
Oh, I think you were absolutely right to say that we are in for the most intense and exciting match to date in this season, as we see the previous champions of the last 2 seasons fend off against the current #1 team. If Thin Ice manages to turn this around, then they manage to knock Team Pumpkin Snatch down on the roster board. But Team Pumpkin Snatch has only suffered 1 loss to date. We may yet be able to see them turn this back around. We are 20 seconds left on the clock. Oh! Tux secures the capture there, bringing the score in the last 18 seconds to 40-60. Team Pumpkin Snatch squeaking ahead there and may yet secure this lead. Both Seekers have left the snitch race to their own devices as we are in the last 5 seconds. It does look like we are going to end this match here at 40-60.
That was an incredible first game. Couldn't tell even by the first 5 minutes who was going to be ahead, who had the momentum. It kept swinging back and forth from Thin Ice back to Pumpkin Snatch, back to Thin Ice, back to Pumpkin Snatch. Those snitch races were so close. And the chaser game from both Dake Bluey, Cheese and Queso, but also Shoni and Cardi is absolutely incredible to watch. This is going to be a phenomenal game too. What do you think, Virtual?
Honestly, this game too is going to have me on the edge of my seat the entire time. I don't believe we have witnessed such an even matchup in the past. We have seen not only within the Chaser Core giving and taking on that Quaffle game, but also the incredible work there from both Denji and Alpha Tux, demonstrating such impeccable flying and snitch races. Literally came down to the wire with Alpha Tux just squeaking ahead in the lead there on that last snitch and securing the win for Team Pumpkin Snatch. Moving into this next race, or moving into this next match rather, what do you think that Thin Ice is going to need to do to turn the tide against Pumpkin Snatch? Because that was so incredible. Each team working not only on the offense, the defense, but the interference as well. And their coordination was simply impeccably even. I don't know what I'd be able to provide in terms of criticism to really be able to balance out this next match and secure a match 3.
I feel like the only thing that I can say isn't even in terms of quitting, but just in terms of trying to find a win condition. Where can you find a tiny little bit of momentum or a tiny little bit of leverage for this specific team? I think the only thing Thin Ice could do is just have possession a little bit more. Try to keep advantage of what you actively know you can do. If you know you have really good Chaser Core, then just hold it for 2 to 5 more seconds just to wait for your opportunity. Don't force an opportunity to happen when you know it could happen in 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds.
Fair enough. So if I'm reading you correctly, just telling them to take their time, be patient with the plays. Don't attempt to force an oncoming play, but rather allow it to come naturally as it develops on the field. Is that correct?
Exactly. They've got 2 seasons of playing at the championship level. They have no rush in the world to feel like they need to force a goal or they need to force something right now. Let it happen. Play their game that they know how to play.
Fair enough. In other words, I do believe, Seawoods, you're telling Thin Ice to keep their cool.
A little buttocks. I love that. Love that, Virtual. I love it.
Thank you. Hopefully everyone else who's watching appreciates it just as much. And it does look like you won't have to suffer through too many of my dad jokes as we are moving right on in to this second match between these incredible teams. Will we see Thin Ice take it back in this next match, or will Team Pumpkin Snatch be able to beat back the competition and snatch the victory here today in this second matchup? All I know, dear audience, is that we are going to see some incredible plays and neither team will concede without a fight. And they are
Correct me
off.
if I'm wrong, Virtual. I think we see a roster adjustment for Thin Ice. I think we see Yukio Takeda in for Cheese and Queso, and a beautiful goal from them right off the kickoff. Not even 15 seconds in, and it's already 10-0 in favor of Thin Ice.
Incredible play. Yukio Takeda having taken a backline position for the majority of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Seeing him come off the bench and immediately put another goal in, demonstrating the impeccable nature that is Yukio's skill as such a versatile player in seasons past. And now, to date, Yukio once more in possession, as we see here. Once more, Denji and Tux flying their way down the pitch, with Tux currently enjoying a marginal lead on the snitch race at 6 minutes in. An incredible kick out there from Pumpkin Snatch, sending it on over to Shoni. Shoni looking for an opening to try and weave past, maybe pass it on over to Cardi. No, puts it in. We are at a tied game once more. These two teams, absolutely incredible to behold in just how even and level they are with their skills on the pitch.
And not only that, just within 90 seconds of this game too, you can tell how hungry each one of these teams is. Pumpkin Snatch just wants to put Thin Ice out, have a 2-game match, but Thin Ice with a beautiful goal from Dake Blueby. Beautiful assist by Count. They just want to actively see that game 3. They need to see that game 3 in order to make sure that they're making it to Newts.
They really do, and you can see that whilst the pressure is on, they are doing their best to keep their cool. Alpha Tux currently leading by a margin, as it looks like Team Pumpkin Snatch has learned to try and keep the pressure over on Denji. But Denji looking for those openings, trying to weave in and out, gets what looked to have been a missed bump there as Tux swings back in and secures the capture to increase their lead, bringing what was once a 10-point deficit to a 10-point lead there at 34 minutes and 35 seconds. Cardi immediately demonstrating their chaser capabilities, putting in another 10 points, 20-40.
Just like we were saying earlier, Virtual, Thin Ice had a lot of momentum right off the first kickoff, and now Pumpkin Snatch has a lot of momentum after the second kickoff. So I'm curious to see how this is going to unfold for the rest of the match. With Pumpkin Snatch in the lead by 20 points, if Tux catches this, that puts them up by 40 points, which is a huge, huge lead for Thin Ice to try and come back from.
It's a huge lead indeed, but I find no Thin Ice, they are not out yet. If anything, this may galvanize their potential in the running, with Alpha Tux currently in the lead on this snitch, but pressure is on. It looks like Macoon, ever the beast beater that he is, currently putting in the work to keep Denji at bay. And we do see, as Flourish is trying very hard to send Bludgers over on Tux's way, Macoon is interfering with that at every juncture, summoning the Bludger, trying to get on top of it, even sending it towards Flourish to interfere with the beater capability. This is excellent work being demonstrated today by the beater of Team Pumpkin Snatch, one that cannot be matched unless they simply bring it back home. Thin Ice behind both on Chaser and on Seeker game. They are going to need to turn this around in the next 2 minutes 50 seconds.
Looks like Tux lands a bump on Denji there. And a beautiful goal from Cardi, making the score Pumpkin Snatch 50, Thin Ice 20 with about 2:35 left on the clock. This is starting to look more and more separated. If Pumpkin Snatch catches this, that means the score's going to be 70-20. Thin Ice is going to have a lot of ground to make up within the last 2 minutes here.
Denji, though, is covering quite a bit of ground, currently in the lead on this snitch, but one bump may change this. Currently doing everything in their power to guide the snitch, shepherd the snitch back over to their home goals to try and get this. And does! 40-50! Denji potentially turning the match around with a brilliant snitch capture at 2 minutes 6 seconds left on the clock, bringing the score to only a 10-point deficit. Thin Ice may be able to get themselves off the back foot and back online with this. It is a potential turnaround. These teams are so well matched today. Cardi saying, no, you have gotten that snitch, but I am going to do everything in my power to put these goals in to cover that snitch insurance. There's just enough time for a final snitch in this before we move into a potential overtime. I am wanting to see a match 3. Keep up the work, Thin Ice.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. Oh, and it looks like Tux is one shot. Thin Ice is going to need to land a shot right now on Tux in order to make this even close for consideration.
Oh!
And they do! Denji lands the bump of a lifetime up against Tux. Thin Ice is on the advantage, and a beautiful goal by Yukio Takeda. 1 minute and 5 seconds left, and we're looking closer and closer to a game 3 than ever before.
Denji is going to need to keep their cool here in order to secure this. A brilliant dodge out of the way of Alpha Tux's bump there. 50 seconds left on the clock. Yukio putting in that goal, bringing them to a 10-point deficit. If they capture this snitch, they take home the lead.
Pumpkin Snatch landing a huge kick on Denji, but Denji's got such a lead, I don't know if that's really gonna matter. They really just need to keep Denji safe, and I think this might be a secure catch for Thin Ice here. As the snitch is going around the corner, it's dropping down. Denji's gonna look 100%.
Oh.
And he's...
Pumpkin Snatch coming in for the kick. Gets the kick, interferes. Will that be able to keep them up? No, it doesn't. Denji captures the snitch. At 14 seconds left on the board, Thin Ice peels ahead. Will Team Pumpkin Snatch be able to put in a final second quaffle goal in order to move this towards overtime? Or do we see this in the last 5 seconds? Thin Ice with an incredible turnaround. No, we're moving into overtime.
Shoney with a beautiful goal, making the score 70-70 in overtime. The next score is just gonna grab the W. Who's it gonna be?
This is perhaps the most intense match I have seen to date here at Lee Saban. Oh! Thin Ice still secures the win!
As Dake Bloomy with a beautiful shot, sending this match to game 3. I think the roster adjustment and the intensity on the chaser game actively made that happen for Thin Ice. Beautiful adjustments, grand playing. This is an intense game of Quidditch today, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you could not ask for a better transition into a match 3. That was absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness. My heart is racing here, Saywoods. That was some incredible plays there from Thin Ice to turn around what looked like in the beginning a potential second loss. But no, they did exactly as you prescribed, saying to keep their cool, stay on top of things, keep that cool confidence moving into this match to really bring home with patience the win. Amazing. Amazing.
This is a phenomenal game where we've talked earlier, Virtual, about just textbook examples of different techniques or different plays. This is not textbook at all. This is pure hunger and drive. Who wants this bad enough? Thin Ice coming out with some huge clutch goals at the very last minute to send that to overtime, and Dake with the final dagger to send it into game 3. It's a clutch, huge moment for them, and this could be the turning tide moment in game 3. If they come right out of the gate swinging 20-30-0, this could just actively be the momentum that they needed to find in game 1.
It will be interesting to see if they keep up with the momentum, but I must say, for both teams listening in, we are dangerously close to the dreaded 41-minute mark. Especially seeing how these 2 previous matches have moved almost immediately on in towards a last second and especially that last match moving into overtime, it is a potential that we run into overtime in this next match. I don't want to see that happen and the dreaded 41 cause the match to be disqualified.
That's a good point, Virtual. And for anybody that's new that doesn't know about the 41 bug, there's an internal bug where if you're in a custom game and the 41 of any hour approaches and you're actively in a game, the servers could just restart and the entire game just kind of resets. So it's a tremendous, like, it's such a consideration in terms of when you start your game. Is if, okay, are we going to hold off if we're making the game at 37 or 38, where you could have a tremendous lead of 30 to 50, even 60 or 70 points in the first couple minutes, and it all doesn't matter because it wasn't a full game because of the 41. So phenomenal point, Virtual.
Especially just seeing how incredibly neck and neck these two teams have been, I would be devastated to see another potential turn in this tide suddenly just discount all of the efforts that went into the previous match. All that said, I at least from what I'm seeing here, the teams may be readying up. Do we have comms from either team if they are going to be respecting the 41 or taking the risk?
I believe we have comms from Pumpkin that we are respecting the 41. They might just be looking like they're loading in, but I think they're just getting stuff ready, making sure all of the stuff is aligned so that once 41 hits, they just click a couple buttons and we're in and good to go.
Oh, thank goodness. In which case, everyone, seeing as that will occur in the next 5 minutes, we're going to go ahead and take a quick advertisement break just to get the ads out of the way before we move into this match 3, because we do not want to miss this exciting third match that will make, break, and define the rosters within this next match. So do not go away, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between or otherwise, dear audience. We will be back with more intense matches of Quidditch here at League 7. Hello everyone and welcome back to League 7. We are about to be moving right back on into Quidditch within this next minute or two, as we have just passed the dreaded 41-minute mark. For new viewers, if you don't know, within the game of Quidditch Champions, the 41-minute mark is a bit of a bug where effectively the servers reset themselves in an effort to keep things level and even. But in doing so, if you happen to be in a match at the moment that the 41-minute mark rolls around, it has the risk of kicking you out of the match. We've seen in the past two matches between Thin Ice and Team Pumpkin Snatch that both teams have secured a match win, and in an intense last match we saw there, Thin Ice managed to squeak ahead by 10 points in overtime. This next game within the match series is going to determine the winner of today's matchup between Thin Ice and Team Pumpkin Snatch, and it looks like we are moving right back on in to match 3 between these two incredible teams, these two even opponents over at Weasley Burrow Cloudy. Are you ready, Seawoods?
I am so ready for this. Oh, and it looks like we might be missing somebody. I don't know if we saw everybody load in properly.
Oh
but
dear.
For a make or break game, oh yeah, it looks like Pumpkin Snatch is missing one of their chasers.
Unfortunate. It does look like they are setting in bloody hells, but the rest of the team doesn't seem to be backing on out. Maybe they're trying to load them in mid-game?
Maybe. This might be a disadvantage for Pumpkin. I don't know. I guess we're playing in the make or break game. And there we go. Neo is finally joined the game, it looks like. But Dave Blueby with a phenomenal goal, making this 10-0 Thin Ice.
And it looks like Neo is right back on in there. Unfortunately, Team Pumpkin Snatch having conceded the first goal on over to Thin Ice at before the 45-second mark. Will they be able to return fire? They do. Looks like with the return of Neo also comes the return of the firepower, as I Am Shoney puts in 10 points. We are currently at a tied game at 6 minutes left on this clock.
For a winner makes all game, I don't think we could ask for a better matchup within the first minute. The Seeker game looks pretty even. Tux is in the lead, maybe by just a little bit. Both Chaser games are looking great. Shoney and Dake putting in a goal. This is going to be a really close one.
Looks like Alpha Tux is doing everything in their power to keep this wide lead actually there. Almost 25% ahead of Denji. It looks like Team Pumpkin Snatch has restructured and rethought their general approach to this match. They're keeping everyone off of Alpha Tux and keeping everyone on top of Denji here. Alpha Tux getting close to that 100% mark, swinging around home goals. It looks like it's an almost assured capture here, unless there's a bump. Oh, a beautiful interfering tackle there by way of Thin Ice, but not enough yet to get a secure hit there. Oh, Alpha Tux with a bump coming over towards enemy goals, takes a hit. Cardi puts in 20 or puts in another 10 points, and currently Alpha Tux is getting knocked ahead by multiple players. Denji may be able to keep up with this lead. Oh, Alpha Tux goes down and Denji captures the snitch. An incredible turnaround.
Just as you were saying, Virtual, Pumpkin Snatch might have restructured their team, but as we just saw, Thin Ice might have exactly done the same thing. Just waiting for the opportune moment to actively pounce right on top of Tux, and that gives Denji the opportunity to catch the snitch, making it 30-20 with 4:20 left on the clock.
This is some impeccable teamwork we're seeing from both sides of the pitch. Flyrish coming on in with the pressure where necessary. The constant pressure that we're seeing on the Chaser Core from Dake Blueby, Yukio Takeda, and Shintatsu, just working together not only to put goals on in as we saw there, but to also keep the interfering pressure on top of this Seeker battle, as Alpha Tux is doing everything to try and keep on top, but is still getting hit there and then by these players. You don't want to let off any gas. Don't want to allow yourself to rest on your laurels as Dake Blueby puts in another 10 points there, getting some snitch insurance even as Tux pulls ahead. We're at 50-20 at 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on this clock.
And with that score threshold, now that means Pumpkin Snatch needs to get 1 goal and catch the snitch just to make this overtime. As if Thin Ice can play some great defense here, maybe separate Tux a little bit more, or maybe even separate Shoney from the goals a little bit, I think they, as I say that, and Cardi puts up a beautiful goal for Pumpkin Snatch, now putting this within contendership. We can maybe see Pumpkin Snatch grab the snitch here and see a tie game.
It is quite possible, and ever more possible, as Alpha Tux is closing in on this snitch with over 75% on their snitch meter. Dodges a speeding bludger, weaving around the enemy beater and interference chaser here as you see them peeling around. Alpha Tux taking a very careful position as it weaves around the enemy's goals. Denji looking to make up the difference in that snitch meter, but trailing behind. Will they be able to turn this back around as they did last time? Oh, Denji keeping away from an enemy attack there from their chasers. Alpha Tux smartly shepherding the snitch back on over to the home side, trying to bring that back to a 100%, but we've seen in the past that Team Pumpkin Snatch has lost the snitch, even with the advantage that comes with Alpha Tux. Cardi putting in another 10 points. If Tux grabs the snitch here, then that is a lead. Oh, another bump there, sending them off the snitch there. Will Denji be able to take advantage of this? Oh, a beautiful bump. Oh, but it isn't hit. Alpha Tux taking the knocks, taking the interference. Alpha Tux may be cracking under the pressure. Neo tying this match at 50-50. Oh, but Tenchi, I think, goes down.
As we're seeing Thin Ice actively play out their strategy a little bit more offensively on Tux. But I think this is going to be the opportunity that Pumpkin Snatch needs in order to catch the snitch. Tux is just sitting at 100% waiting for the opportunity to go in and grab it. As he does, making the score 70-50 on terms of Pumpkin Snatch. Thin Ice has got 20 points to gain just to go to overtime in the last 80 seconds of this game.
I don't know if there's enough time for a third and final snitch before potential overtime. They're going to need to rely solely on their chaser core here to bring them back into this running. Otherwise, Team Pumpkin Snatch will have secured this third and final match.
As we see Makun takes out Yukio Takeda, that means Thin Ice is down 1 more chaser. And wow, some phenomenal aggressive beater play from Makun in the last 40-50 seconds.
What an incredible turnout we have here, with Tux currently in the lead at nearly 50% on the snitch. Denji seeming to take pressure and cracking under the pressure. The Thin Ice caving in beneath his feet as Team Pumpkin Snatch beats their bat-like wings against the wings. Will we see them take the win here and snatch victory in the last 18 seconds? Oh, a beautiful shot from Shoney there. It's looking more and more like they are shutting out this game. Team Pumpkin Snatch has won this third match series in 3, 2, 1. What?
And some beautiful Quidditch played today by Pumpkin Snatch and Thin Ice. We could not tell which way the momentum was going to swing, especially when it came to Game 3, whether it would have been Thin Ice or Pumpkin Snatch. But as we see, the Chaser game and the Beater game being a little bit more aggressive leaned in Pumpkin Snatch's favor today in Game 3.
Oh, what an incredible series there. Oh goodness, dear chat, it does look like Team Pumpkin Snatch has brought home the victory there. What an incredible game we have seen today. Unfortunate.
I think this is so telling, Virtual. Just looking at all of what Pumpkin Snatch has done this season and the passion and the work ethic that they have put in this season, actively beating the 2-time season champs, I think is so momentum building for Pumpkin Snatch just to keep that #1 spot But I think what Pumpkin Snatch needs to remember is that just with the number 1 spot, it doesn't mean it's reserved. If anything, it means it's more up for grabs.
Oh, more up for grabs in there. Like, I will say, it could have gone either way. At the moment, I am trying to get the predictions in, but unfortunately, it looks like I can't call it. So give me 1 second. But all that aside, incredible plays there from both teams today. You could feel the hunger in thin ice moving into that third match. You saw it with such incredible plays moving in to the second match and then carrying that momentum forward. But today, Team Pumpkin Snatch has demonstrated that their drive, their desire was the overwhelming power that brought home their victory in that third and final match. Well done, Team Pumpkin Snatch. Well done.
I cannot agree more, Virtual. Well done, Pumpkin Snatch. I cannot say anything more than y'all played phenomenally. And I do have a question for you, Virtual. Do you think this is going to play any tell of the story for the next game that Pumpkin Snatch has to play in approximately 7 minutes against Bludgers? Bludgers have been watching Pumpkin Snatch and they could probably just see what their playstyle's been. Does Pumpkin Snatch need to change something, or do Bludgers just need to come out of the gate swinging? What do you think?
Oh gosh, I think they're going to need to come right on out swinging, because it's the Chadley Cannons been sitting in the wings waiting for this. I'd imagine that simply taking a look over at what we have ahead, or excuse me, not the Chadley Cannons, the Bludgers. The Bludgers have been waiting ever so patiently for this next match, and it is bound to be an incredible one. Team Pumpkin Snatch having secured themselves the win there even after the defeat of the Chadley Cannons. But what a match there, Seawoods. What do you think? At present, with the current scores set on in, we see that the Chadley Cannons are currently in the first place running. Team Pumpkin Snatch set in second place. Thin Ice still settled at fourth place, despite that incredible showing there. I don't think... Actually, yes, considering the fact that there was such low concession of goals on either side, I don't think even by points they will be moving on up past the Avenging Angels and will still settle at the fourth place running. Enough to move on into Newts, but maybe not enough to really give them the hard-lined advantage that they've been used to in previous seasons. There's still plenty of time and plenty of potential for a rematch moving towards Newts. But with the Bludgers here today, in their next match, with a currently undefeated season, will we see the Bludgers be able to do the same moving into Team Pumpkin Snatch, who have only lost the one match?
I think Bludgers are going to have a really strong game up against Pumpkin Snatch here. But I think what Bludgers are going to need to do is actively control Tux. If I'm going to give a little bit of a shameless plug to one of High Tide's coaches, Ketchup. If Ketchup is on beater first game and he can actively control Tux to kind of shepherd him in a way to keep him away from the snitch, just like he was coaching Phantom in High Tide, I think that might be a recipe for success there, don't you think?
I think so. Though it is a question of exactly who is going to be playing on their teams, as we've seen the Bludgers rotate their lineup. Whilst I do 100% agree that the formidable nature that comes with Ketchup playing on beater, he's not the only one that you have to look out for. You've got Scourge, you've got Jim Tones, you've got an incredible game, an incredible team filled with absolutely oppressive beaters that have formed together to really demonstrate their stuff on the pitch.
Absolutely. This is going to be a phenomenal game out on the pitch, not only just in terms of the beater game, but in terms of the respective chaser game. I think both of these teams' chasers have some serious threats. Not only have you seen Pumpkin Snatch be a serious contender with Cardi, with Shoney, even with Neo Ballers setting up a lot of plays for those two, but over on Bludgers, we see Ketchup, Jim Tones, Scourge, Prophecy, all of these, even Oof, all of these are playmakers for both teams, and actively they could be survivable on their own. But I think it's going to be the teamwork from both of these teams that actively makes or breaks the game today. Maybe even makes or breaks if we see a game 3 or if we're only going to see a game 2 today.
And I do hope for another game 3. If anything, this last match series has left such a taste in my mouth for these excellent, just well-balanced games that have led towards overtime and towards game 3. I would say that has probably been my favorite match series to date within League 7. Seeing Thin Ice contend against Team Pumpkin Snatch, and just how incredible previous season champions have faced off against this second, if I'm not mistaken, second season running Team Pumpkin Snatch. Incredibly well done there from Team Pumpkin Snatch, definitely earning their title as a previously first place, now only second place by points alone on that leaderboard. Just well done. Well done.
Absolutely, and at least bringing up the topic of newts, I'm going to put my money on the line for later down the season. We're going to see that rematch again, and I'm going to put my money on there won't be a game 3. There's going to be a team that actively finds this game and needs to either make sure that there is no vengeance, or maybe they do have vengeance and they come back and win it again. So I'm going to put my money when we see this back in newts, there's not going to be a game 2. We're going to see either Pumpkin Snatch come out in 2-0 or Thin Ice come out in 2-0. But I think how intense that game was, going back to their common rooms and actively just reflecting and just chatting and looking at the VODs and going over the match, I think this is going to be a match to remember, not only from them, but the entire L7 community.
Agreed. And I know I've been touting it earlier, but I still very much believe that we have seen perhaps the most versatile and dedicated and powerful games in the entirety of Quidditch history here in this season. And it looks like we have some people in the chat who agree with OTP from our Q6 sister server saying, yeah, between L7 currently and the World Cup 2, highest quality Quidditch has ever been. I must agree. Nana, good call out there. I am getting the next prediction on up. Give me but a moment and we will make sure to have this prediction coming up. Also,
and I believe I see a comment in chat from J-Guard. What was the final score of Game 3? Correct me if I'm wrong, Virtual, but was that 80-50?
I think it was 80-50. I may be confusing with a previous match, but it was either 80-50 or 80-30. Give me but a moment. I do see we are getting perspectives up, and I am also doing my best to get the match predictions up here very shortly. There we go. And let's go ahead here. Boom.
As Virtual and I both set up all of the things that are needed up in the commentator's booth.
I will go ahead and give everyone a quick reminder. Be sure to hydrate, get yourself settled in for some excellent Quidditch. I do anticipate that in this next match between the Bludgers and Team Pumpkin Snatch that we are going to see some fantastic fantastic Quidditch, potentially even to the same level as that previous match.
An official confirmation from Phantom Blade was 80-50 going to Pumpkin.
Thank you so much there. I do appreciate having that confirmation. And of course, if you unfortunately missed that previous matchup between Thin Ice and Team Pumpkin Snatch, then you will be able to rewatch it later today when the VOD hits. So going to go ahead and set this out here. 5 minutes voting on this next prediction. Who will win this next match between Bludgers and PKS? Be sure to get your votes in. You only have 5 minutes to determine the winners of this match series. Not just this next game, but this match series between these two incredible teams. The currently undefeated Bludgers versus the number 2 team, Team Pumpkin Snatch.
Now, first of all, I'm going to definitely put my money exactly where it belongs, right with the Bludgers. And the only reason I say that is because I've seen Ketchup personally coach a lot of us, and we've seen personally how influential that beater position can play in a really intense game of Quiddy like this. We saw last game Makun was taking out Denji and actively making, I can't say making an example, but seeing once Denji got stunned, everybody piled right on. And the same thing from Thin Ice. Once Tux got stunned, everyone piled right on. So I think this is going to be a great example of what we could actively see from how influential a beater can be to a squad.
Oh goodness, that it is. And I see a lot of people though seem to be voting on over to Team Pumpkin Snatch. Looking at 8k votes on there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that the only team currently to have bested Team Pumpkin Snatch was the Chadley Cannons. But the Bludgers, unless I'm misremembering, the Bludgers took on the Chadley Cannons and managed to best them in a previous matchup.
That is correct, Virtual. I'm looking at the stats here, and it looks like Pumpkin Snatch lost 0-2 against the Chadley Cannons. But Bludgers sent them to a Game 3 almost a week earlier and won the Game 3. So now that kind of sets up the premise of, are we going to see a Game 3 in this one? Is the gameplay going to be as intense where we're just seeing Game 3 after Game 3 today?
Oh my goodness. Now that is something that any commentator would love to witness. I know I'm ready for it. And even though I'm a little sad that you weren't able to have your game here today, Seawood, I am happy that in hindsight it did allow you to sit in the box with me and witness these matches, because oh my goodness, what an incredible match to commentate, and especially being your second time in the box here today. Incredibly well done.
Thank you, Virtual. For being the second time in the box, having an experience like that, almost life-changing. You almost never anticipate to have a Game 3 that intense, or a match series that intense, where you're actively at the edge of your seat for not only one of the games, not only 2 of the games, but all 3 games. You're just sitting on the edge of your seat is a life-changing experience. So definitely expect to see me back in the box, like it or not. I'm definitely forcing my way in here at some point.
Oh, don't you worry. We're going to make sure to get quite a few returning people to sit in the box with us all. I will say, moving towards NEWTs, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I intend to have as many people rotate in and out of the box to commentate these incredible matches, as we will see these top 6 teams really move on forward to demonstrate their abilities. That said though, it does look like these current teams between the Bludgers and Team Pumpkin Snatch are about to move right on in to their first game, as all teams are loaded on up. Well, actually, hold up. Nope, I do see, at least by way of Team Pumpkin Snatch, they are missing one player on their roster. I do hope that they are currently just resetting their client and not anything else more interfering.
It does look like they're missing one. And now it doesn't look like they're missing one as we just get the notification of player join party. It looks like they're putting in the code. Players are assigning their positions and we should be loading onto the pitch momentarily. I will say, and I'm very curious, are we going to see a fourth or a fifth match in a row of Weasley Burrows Cloudy?
It seems to be the beloved pitch of many of our teams here today. And I understand why. There are very little particle effects. There are very little distracting elements in the back of the actual pitch itself. I think the only downside is that there is no clearly defined pitch markers with regards to like the scoring area or the lines, which I know for some people who enjoy bounce shots actually comes at a bit of a deficit. But at the same time, I will say I like the Weasley Burrow Cloudy. I do hope to see a bit of a different map here today, as there are some incredible maps that have been made for this game. One of my favorites, which is unfortunately one of the least favorites for most people, does happen to be the Forbidden Forest. It is such a beautiful map, but I understand why most people generally don't like it. But that said, looks like we are going to be making our way back on over to Weasley Burrow Cloudy as we begin this first matchup between the Bludgers and Team Pumpkin Snatch. What do you think, Seawoods? What are we bound to see?
As we're seeing a couple of rosters, and it looks like we might be having Neo loading again early game. But it looks like here we go with the kickoff, a phenomenal game of Quiddy to be anticipated. Oh, right off the bat, we see Shoney getting stunned by Ketchup on beater.
Ketchup immediately returning attention on over to the Seeker game here to try and get a hit on Alpha Tux, but Alpha Tux weaves masterfully out of the way of Ketchup, continuing with a grand lead on this snitch. Gets a beautiful bump on there, and looks as if Shade from the Bludgers is currently behind on this. Rather uncharacteristic of Shade in previous matches past, but when going up against a player like Tux, it is understandable. Tux is hungry after that last match to try and get that snitch without issue, but Ketchup comes in with a clever clunk, takes a few hits there by Macoon. Macoon always able to really reassess the situation and put in the interference where it is necessary, putting the pressure on Ketchup, who is one hit down here. Oh, but it looks like with that pressure taken off of Shade, Shade has once more returned fire onto this Seeker gameplay, and they are neck and neck. Ketchup eliminates Cardi there, the star chaser for Team Pumpkin Snatch. But will it be enough to get this first goal here as the Bludgers are in possession? Bludgers lose possession.
Pumpkin Snatch has just, I believe, kicked something back to Gym Tones and taken out one of their chasers. So as we're seeing Shoney getting taken out earlier, we're watching Gym Tones get taken out. This is about 2 minutes into the game and we haven't seen a single point go up. This is almost a complete contrast of what we were seeing last game, where Shoney scores right off the gate, but now the snitch race is looking so close as Tux looks ever so close to grabbing it, but Shade also, looks like Shade takes a bump and Tux grabs it, making the score 20-0 in terms of Pumpkin Snatch. 4:49 left on the clock. Can Shoney come out and score right off the gate again?
Ooh. That is going to be a good question. I don't think the Bludgers are willing to concede any quaffle goals there, but Cardi is going to do everything to pass it on down but concedes possession over to Jim Tones, who picks it up and begins moving back on over to the enemy side of the pitch. I would say that between these two teams, we are seeing an incredibly even chaser core as both teams concede the quaffle to one another in beautiful shots on goal, saved between Pumpkin Snatch and Scourge. But it really is coming down to a seeker difference, and Alpha Tux is leading the charge. Oh, commentators curse there. Cardi puts in the first chaser goal with the quaffle sinking into Bludgers hoops, securing Pumpkin Snatch an additional 10 points.
As we see Tux is looking about half health, Bludgers are starting to take advantage with a beautiful goal from Jim Tones. But as I was saying, Bludgers are taking advantage a little bit more with their aggressive interference play. Ketchup seems to be playing a phenomenal job focusing Tux and having one chaser try to separate Tux from the snitch.
Oh, we are seeing some incredible beater work over here with Ketchup. Oh, and a beautiful shot from Jim Tones there, bringing the score 20-30 at 3 minutes 15 seconds. Ketchup is doing everything to get in the way of Makoon's attacks on the Seeker, and unfortunately does go down there. Will that be enough for Shade to get back up and really get back at Tux here, as Tux is encroaching on the 75% meter? It is looking like right now Team Pumpkin Snatch may secure this second snitch and the advantage on this team. The Bludgers have a lot of pressure here, as they are going to need to bring home a victory if they want to keep up with their undefeated nature and climb up higher on the roster. They are at a decent place right now, but they could be safer if they manage to knock Pumpkin Snatch down. Alpha Tux closer and closer to this snitch. Will swap on over to get a look there. Oh, takes a beautiful hit there from Ketchup, and Jim Tones ties the score at 30-30. This may be the turnaround we were needing. 2 minutes left on this clock and we are at a tied game. Alpha Tux currently keeping a wide berth on this snitch, just waiting for the opportunity. Oh, takes the bump there from Shade. Shade may yet be able to turn this back around. The pressure is on Tux. Will they crack, or will they keep their cool?
I think we saw almost a perfect we're seeing a perfect example of what Bludgers were trying to do, of create separation from Tux and the snitch, actively eliminating Tux and landing a bunch of hits, creating separation for Shade. Shade looking like approaching the snitch here. Oh, and another landed hit on Tux. That might be the separation needed.
Oh!
And it is, as Shade grabs the snitch, making the score 50-30 in terms of Bludgers, with just about 80 seconds left to go. Bludgers, y'all are gonna need to keep the separation, keep the lead.
I simply must give commendation towards the Bludgers there. Not only did we see an interfering tackle, but we also saw the keeper for the Bludgers, Scourge, come in with a beautiful kick, followed up by Just Ketchup's clonk there as beater, knocking down Tux. That was perhaps the best, most coordinated effort I've seen in interfering with the Seeker play to date. Well done, Bludgers. Oh!
And as we see, with about 30 seconds left, Neo goes down, and it's still an advantage on terms of Bludgers. A nice bump exchange from Tux and Shade. I don't know if it's going to be enough time to get a snitch, so they might need to prioritize Chaser game here.
Oh, it's looking like this may yet be it. Seawoods, we are at 10 seconds left. There is potential to capture it in the very last... Oh no, there's a bump, never mind. With that, 50-30, we see the Bludgers take home the first game win in this match series. And I do see over there, Jova does announce an absolutely impeccable comm there, with Shade was down by approximately 60% on that snitch meter. and turned it around with the help of their team. That is the teamwork and coordination that I love to see here in the pitch. Just incredible work. A massive Seeker gameplay comeback, says Dementor, and I thoroughly agree. Well done, Bludgers.
I could not agree more with all of this. Phenomenal game one, Bludgers. I think all that Bludgers need to do in order to keep up this momentum is maintain that separation. You actively got not only one Seeker race, but you got so many goals just by creating a little bit of separation. I think that's exactly what you need to do in this game going into game 2. And y'all might have the W. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
It is incredibly possible. But setting aside a slight bias you have for your professor's team, what would you say needs to happen by way of Team Pumpkin Snatch to return fire in this next match? What tactics are they going to need to employ to ensure that they stay in the game?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Virtual, but I saw a lot less goals right off of kickoff this game. It seemed a lot of the chaser game was more momentum favored in the middle, more towards the 6-minute marker to the 5:45 marker. We didn't see, let's say, Shoney grab it right off of kickoff and then 10 seconds in, you have them score and have a little momentum right out the gate.
Well, true, but we do need to remember that entering into that game, unfortunately, Neil had disconnected and had to load back in. So I think the momentum that had to be carried was just regaining the play there. We did see some incredible work as soon as Neil actually loaded back on in with the shot on goal. So, unless I'm misremembering, I would say that maybe it's not based on the chaser pressure, because really when it came down to it, at least from what I saw, it was that mid-match interference coming from the Bludgers that turned the snitch game around. Maybe if anything, I would say Team Pumpkin Snatch needs to return with some more just heavy-handed gravity on top of the enemy Seeker to really prevent capture there, because it didn't happen just once, but twice. Like we've seen in previous games today, that Team Pumpkin Snatch has had secured leads, but unfortunately just let it slip through their hands without enough interference being placed on the enemy Seeker.
That is true, that is true. I think another opportune that at least we've seen Pumpkin Snatch go for today is at least grabbing the scores and then stopping the game at 100 points. I think that is also another potential. If they lock in offensively, they could have the potential to just win the game and just catch both snitches with a couple of quaffle goals and win just straight up with 100. I think it's a potential, but what do you think is going to need to happen on terms of Bludgers to lose this momentum?
Ooh, in terms of the Bludgers regaining their momentum or maintaining their momentum, what I would say is they're going to need to come in at the beginning with a higher amount of pressure. That much is true. We did see some quick work by way of catch-up there with targeting the enemy Seeker right out the gate, then turning around onto the chaser gameplay. I'm of the opinion that wasting the time at the beginning of the game on the Seeker who has yet to even find the snitch is not the play. I do understand the mindset that goes behind it, that any amount of snitch meter increase is snitch meter increase. But when neither Seeker have managed to find the snitch, then there's no snitch meter to reduce. At that point you're just reducing health, which is good, but could be better served towards reducing the health of the Chaser Core to secure that first goal. And the more that they can keep up with that, the better chance that they have with securing enough points to, if not take the lead, then certainly secure snitch insurance.
Absolutely. And I completely understand the mindset of any snitch meter gained is a snitch meter gained, obviously. But I couldn't agree more with what you're putting down there, Virtual. If the snitch meter hasn't even been discovered yet by both Seekers, then there's not a real advantage to taking out the Seeker besides just getting a tiny little bit of uptime, maybe about 5 to 9 seconds of uptime where it's just your individual seeker just trying to get a little bit more snitch perspective. We saw last game where I think it was Shade got taken out midway, or maybe it was Tuck. I think it was Tuck's got taken out maybe, but one of the seekers got taken out and their snitch meter dropped from 90 to maybe 50 or 60. It was an incredible drop. So that makes a ton of plays, and that makes a lot of what we need to actively, sorry, my brain just had a brain fart. That's what actively needs to happen for teams in order to see that level of success for a win.
True, very true. It does look like currently just encountering a bit of an issue when it comes down to the teams loading into their next match. At this moment, I would say that we are still secure. No worries about encountering a 41, so these two teams can get themselves prepared on up. Maybe need to reset the match code, get and send. Hi Phoenix over here says, what's a reserve? Also takes advantage of the fact that when you have everyone playing Seeker game, you have a great opportunity to score. That is a good point. The more interference that gets taken off of the Chaser game and moved over to Seeker does allow any given Seeker with possession of the Quaffle a higher chance to score, but I would also argue that it is a bit of a gamble, because at that point, when you are having to put in goals for your team, you are also having to contend with, are you going to have to worry about a hero kick? Are you going to have to worry about the keeper coming on out? But all of that worries aside, we are moving right on in to this second matchup between the Bludgers and Team Pumpkin Snatch here. Team Pumpkin Snatch having everything to prove as they move on in to their first matchup here, or their second matchup here against the Bludgers. What are you thinking, Seawoods? What can we expect?
We can expect excitement where everything is on the line for Team Pumpkin Snatch. This is being their 5th game of Quiddy played today, and Bludgers just trying to play their 2nd game today, just actively come out with a W here over the number 1 or number 2 team in the league.
And the current score is 0-0 right now. Cardi looking to change that with a beautiful shot on goal there. Brilliantly done. Brilliantly done there. Bringing the score 0-10 at 6 minutes, 20 seconds left on this clock.
And we already see Shade with a really, really low health pool there. Cardi going down on terms of Pumpkin Snatch. Let's see if we can... Is Bludgers gonna land a bump that might? Nope. Looks like Shade is gonna stay up, gaining that snitch meter for Bludgers here. 6 minutes left to go. Score still 10-0.
Scourge with a beautiful save there, passing the Quaffle right on over to Gym Tones. Gym Toads looking to get rid of the Quaffle over to Odorina. Odorina setting up a shot against Pumpkin Snatch, passes it back to Gym Tones. Gym Tones puts it in! 10-10. 5 minutes, 40 seconds left on this clock. Over by the Seeker race, Alpha Tux has taken a grand lead, almost 25%, but we have seen turnarounds from Shade in the past. Will Shade be able to make this turnaround yet again here? We are just past the 80%.
Really close with Gym Tones having possession.
Oh no! Oh no! It looks like Gym Tones might have been knocked out of the game there. This is so truly unfortunate.
That's crazy happening. And it looks like the Quaffle just stayed right behind the rings.
Oh, I do apologize, everyone here. The match score is currently 10-30. I am doing my best to bring on up the scoreboard yet again, but it was tied to the other screen.
And actively looking like the score going to 30-10 to Team Pumpkin Snatch here. I'm Shoney has possession, and a beautiful goal by I Am Shoney, making the score 40-10 in terms of Pumpkin Snatch. This is a shame that Jim Tones disconnects mid-game. This might be the reason that Pumpkin Snatch... Oh, and Jim Tones is looking like it's back in. This could be game-changing here. And Jim Tones is loaded back in. But a beautiful goal by Prophecy to make the score 40-20. They're only one snitch catch away. Can Shade bring this back? Can Shade land one of the clutchest bumps?
We will have to see.
Grabbing a snitch.
I do apologize, dear audience. We will be getting the perspective up here shortly.
Shoney in possession, going down the pitch. Tux actively on the snitch, approaching 50% meter. While Shade also is looking a little bit behind on the snitch meter. Oh, Tux takes a beautiful and another hit. Oh, if BLUDGERS can land one more hit, Tux might be on his way down, so Shade can regain meter.
It is quite possible to see here. We do see over with Ketchup. Ketchup is putting everything to the metal here, trying to knock down Tux, but Tux is weaving masterfully in and out of these oncoming bombardments. Beautiful interference play here. Current score is 20-40 at 2 minutes and 55 seconds left on this clock, and Tux is peeling right ahead. Team Pumpkin Snatch galvanized by that previous loss and really peeling on ahead.
Shade looking eliminated. Oh, Pumpkin Snatch hunted down the hero kick and they got it. So Pumpkin going down, but also Shade going down. And Tux actively, I think, is going to try and take advantage of Shade not being around to bump them and trying to approach this 100% meter like Denji was doing earlier, trying to shepherd the snitch almost to go backwards.
Indeed, indeed.
Looking like he's approaching 100% meter at the enemy hoops. Is it gonna be a catch? Ketchup looking like he's almost close to going down here. A beautiful score from Jim Tones, making the score 40-30.
Oh!
And a beautiful catch by Tux, making the score 60-30 with Pumpkin Snatch. 2 minutes left to go.
Brilliantly done there. Alpha Tux securing the snitch there. But I want to go right on ahead and say that Macoon put in so much work there to bolster their team, as Macoon, as soon as Shade was eliminated, turned fire over to the BLUDGERS' own bludger beating Ketchup. Ketchup having been attacked and interfered with, giving Tux even greater relief from the oncoming firepower. But it looks like that is only temporary, as Tux does get hit by Ketchup there.
A huge bludger from Ketchup. And also Pumpkin looks like to go down again. Can BLUDGERS take advantage? Oh, but it doesn't look like they have a beautiful elimination from Ketchup taking out Tux. I don't know if this is going to be it. Do BLUDGERS have enough time in order to grab the snitch meter that they need in order to win this game too?
There's 1 minute left in this match. I do think there is enough time for Shade to bring this around, but Shade is going to need to stay on their broomstick, which is not an easy task when having to contend against Macoon. Meanwhile, Jim Tones puts in a potentially game-changing goal here, even though, and Ketchup knocks out Macoon to alleviate more pressure on Shade here in the last 30 seconds. 50-60. If Shade captures the snitch here, then the BLUDGERS win the second game and defeat Team Pumpkin Snatch, most certainly moving up on the roster. Ketchup leaving no mercy on this pitch. Jim Tones ties the game. 60-60 at 15 seconds left. We may be going into overtime.
Is this gonna be 2 overtime games in one day? This is gonna be some beautiful quitting to be played.
No!
Oh, and Shade catches it right in sudden death, throwing BLUDGERS into the win of a 2-0 series.
What a capture there! Incredible work! Incredible work! The BLUDGERS have managed to defeat Team Pumpkin Snatch, the current second place title. No doubt pushing them further ahead on this match series and within the roster. What a capture there, Shade. Well done. Shade, truly an MVP in today's matchup. But the entirety of the Bludgers team needs to be celebrated for all of that hard work that they put in today.
Absolutely. It did not feel like Bludgers actively had a game-changing or a blowout type of momentum. They fought hard, tooth and nail to get this victory, and it definitely showed for it, not only from the amount of goals that Scourge was able to keep away and the amount of hits that Ketchup was landing, but phenomenal catches from Shade. Absolute MVP award going to Shade, in my opinion, in that game.
I agree. Oh my goodness. That was perhaps the most dynamic play we saw today. Team Pumpkin Snatch put out some absolutely stellar gameplay, besting the Season 3 and 4 title-holding champions, but going down at the hands of the Bludgers, who, as we had predicted before, with regards to the Bludgers having defeated the previous only team to defeat Team Pumpkin Snatch this season, managed to squeeze out that win there. Beautifully well done. I am in awe here. And for those who voted for the Bludgers, here come your spoils. Well done. Well done.
For one of what looked like to be a phenomenal day of Quidditch, actively is a even better day of Quidditch today. We watched, not only did Pumpkin Snatch and Thin Ice go to such a clutch Game 3, we watched some phenomenal fight backs in this game of Quidditch with Bludgers and Pumpkin Snatch. And like you were saying earlier, Virtual, I think this is a active telltale sign that this season is the most competitive and there's no blowout team. Anything can happen with a good game of Quidditch. We could see one team actively just take over, or we could see a Game 3 with active all titles on the line. Anything is on the line here.
Anything and everything. It has been just so incredible to witness, like, being sat here in the booth and being able to witness just greatness occur. Brilliantly well done. I am honestly in awe. And I will say, even though that wraps up Quidditch for now, we do still have one final match in the gun later today. From what I can see, it is 4:30 roughly Pacific Standard Time, which over here on Eastern Standard Time will be about 7:30 roughly. I'm trying to pull up the match calendar to see. Hopefully it will pull up.
That sounds about right, Virtual. I'm looking actually at it right now. Chadley Cannons and Dumbledore's Army at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a phenomenal game, especially considering last week's play of Dumbledore's Army. We watched them play some phenomenal games, but we also saw Cannons earlier today just show up and show out. So this is going to be a blowdown game actively at 7:30.
And what an incredible game it's going to be. We have seen the Chadley Cannons bring the firepower and have secured themselves the first place position on the roster for good reason. We will have to see if Dumbledore's Army has been galvanized by last week's wins to take on this next game. Otherwise, with that current win, the established 5th place Bludgers, who started this, if I'm not mistaken, in the 7th place running, started in 7th, moved up to 5th, no doubt with that win there, will have moved themselves a little higher on the chart, maybe up to 4th, maybe up to 3rd, but Team Pumpkin Snatch will unfortunately find themselves descending the ladder of this leaderboard this weekend. That all said, Team Pumpkin Snatch played phenomenally here today. It just came, I think, down to being worn down from that previous match against Thin Ice, maybe wasn't able to really capture their breath, and as such have lost themselves this one game. But there's plenty more where that comes from before the end of the season, and even more to come in Newts. So whilst they may have lost the game to the Bludgers this time around, something tells me we should anticipate a rematch come Newts.
I think we're going to see a lot of rematches come Newts. Not only do I think we're going to see Pumpkin Snatch versus Angels, or Pumpkin Snatch versus Thin Ice, I'm sorry, but I think we're going to see Pumpkin Snatch versus Bludgers, or even Bludgers versus Thin Ice in Newts. All of these games are so incredibly close and so incredibly competitive that even if it was an active season game or a Newts game, it's going to be some incredible gameplay here.
100% agreed. And though we will call that for now, until the game later this evening, I do hope that our dear audience has been enjoying themselves here at League 7, witnessing glory out on this pitch from our gilded stadium. Otherwise, I will say in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and end the stream here for now, and we'll return later this evening. Seawoods, do you think you will be free later this evening?
I might be available around that time. I will absolutely let you know if I'm going to be available around that time. I wasn't planning on it, but you know, the more I'm looking at my calendar and the more I know Muggle calendars tell me about it. But the more I'm looking at my stuff and the more I think about it, I should be able to swing it for tonight.
Well, hopefully I do have you in the box yet again for another incredible match. If not, I will take over in your stead. But until then, Seawoods, I do hope you take some time to relax, rest your voice as I most certainly will be, and then I will be seeing the entirety of our League 7 family later this evening. If you haven't already, be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe on all of our platforms. If for whatever reason you've just joined us here and you want to see more fabulous Quidditch, be able or be sure to join us in our Discord server that you can find over at league7.gg. We also do have some merch currently available. I do not have the link right at hand, but there are previous seasons merch within our merch line. Melanor, if you're still listening, could you go ahead and send up the link for that merchandise in chat? We also have some limited edition merch that will be going away potentially in the upcoming months, and keep an eye out for our 5th season merchandise later down the line for a drop. Oh, thank you, Phantom Blade, for propping that back up. But yes, we do have merch available. On top of that, we will be returning later this evening with some more fabulous games of Quidditch, and this season is going to be moving on after tonight's match into week 9, ever closer to Newts, ever closer to greatness. But with all of that said, everyone, you have been a most fabulous audience. I want to go ahead and preemptively thank Seawoods for joining me in the box in the event that they're not able to join me later this evening. Thank you so much for joining us, Seawoods, and thank you everyone who has made this game, or made this match series of Quidditch here today, a most fantastic one. From the players, to the audience, to the friends and family that have helped us get as far as we have, and the staff and moderators who have been operating in the background, making sure this is as smooth an operation as possible. You are the real champions here today. Thank you, everyone. My name is Felix of Virtual Witchcraft, signing off.